and we are going to be going live here just shortly. And what up, brethren? We are back, and I'm hoping I've got the audio on this fixed. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a look. Paige, can you give me a sound check right quick?
Hello. Sound check. Can you hear me?
All right, we are doing much better this time.
Perfect.
So, the second topic that I wanted to talk about today was the YouTube and Facebook ads that I've been seeing recently during this election year.
I don't go on YouTube necessarily per se itself a whole lot, so you'll have to take lead on this topic.
Well, it's when I look up things like the atheist experience, I will
Mm-hmm.
find religious ads, Christian ads in the commercials before that. When I look up things like the Obama out speech at his commemoration dinner, and and I'm seeing throughout the thing, I'm seeing Donald Trump ads, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing the same thing on Facebook, where it will target. It feels like it's targeting me based on what I don't like.
Yeah. No, I get that, and especially with Facebook, more than YouTube, because YouTube, um, I don't use per se all that much. Let alone to look up like the atheist experiment, but I'll have to look that up now.
Experience.
Um, experience, sorry. But definitely with Facebook, I've definitely noticed the overboard Christian aspect now, and I've had to hide all of the advertisements or report them or whatever just to hide them. Um, because I will be an overall just Christian instead of a scientific um, advertising. Like I believe in, I'm totally pro-choice abortion, but I'll see more Christian pro-life, choose the baby and stuff than I will hear about, the other side, the pro-choice side.
Well, for me, it kind of works differently because I'm not going to ignore them. I'm not going to block them. I'm not going to delete them. And
Mm-hmm.
if they're coming to me trying to advertise, then yes, I will respond to their advertisements. Such as Young America Foundation is one that I've been finding that shows up all over my feed the when the algorithm should know that that's about the last thing that I want in my feed.
But because did you ever think that maybe because you're responding to the ads instead of blocking them, that maybe you're getting more?
Well, didn't respond to them at first. I ignored them at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started seeing more. And as I started seeing more, I
Oh,
started responding.
okay. I mean, because we know how Zuckerberg feels about. They've admitted now that, of course, they were listening into your conversations the whole time.
Right, and
Um,
we all knew that.
we already knew that. I mean, there was no way that it was secret. Even when they added the secret option, I'm like, what does secret even mean? It still means that some admin can look at it if they want to, or moderator. Um, sorry, I have a slight headache. So what do you think we should do about it then? What do you think is the proposed idea about that? About why that's happening?
Well, if the algorithms are being used to put propaganda onto somebody,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's actually a form of psychological warfare. And I think it needs to be discussed as psychological warfare.
instead of just like truth in advertising.
Well, it's not about truth in advertising. It's about truth in marketing. They're not advertising to me because they think that they're going to send me
Change
to
you.
Trump. They don't think they're not advertising to me because they think they're going to send me toward being pro-life or send me toward being anti-gay. They don't think they're going to do that. They're just advertising it in that manner because I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And maybe that draws you. What? But isn't the purpose though to make you want to use Facebook as often as you want, and therefore having advertising like that going on that you don't like, wouldn't that push you away from using Facebook?
Well, no, it's because I see a problem of uh, epidemic ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see that problem of epidemic ignorance, I see that here in my town, but I'm not I don't have the numbers behind me like I do in social media.
Mm-hmm.
I'm extremely undermanned in these debates, such as
Yeah.
at work. I'll have 3 or 4 people who are coming at me with an opposing view all at once. So I've got about
Mm-hmm.
15 seconds of dialogue to their 4.5 to 5 minutes of monologue. In that 15 seconds,
Right.
I don't get all at once.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. So social media is the best way to reach out and communicate with like-minded people, but also help just educate the masses.
And yeah, that's why I'm trying to get out to more people.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense.
Because I know I'm
But
not going to do a lot in this town.
what if people don't want to hear it though? What if we're just talking to like-minded people who already feel the same way as us?
Well, that's why I'm trying to get out into people who may be on the fence or people who may be trying to come over
Thinking of that.
and who are becoming more open minded.
Okay. Okay.
Because
That makes a lot of sense.
when I debate, I'm not really talking to my opponent. I'm more or less
Mm-hmm.
using my opponent as a canvas, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking to the audience and showing the audience my points when they might have questions on a certain matter.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I get that.
So I guess the Facebook thing, since it is interactive, does work to a
Mm-hmm.
sense. But then with the YouTube, with the YouTube videos that I'm watching and the ads placed in them,
Mm-hmm.
becomes a completely different matter where it's no longer am I going to interact with this ad? It looks like it's like blatantly
Mm-hmm.
opposing my views, especially when you're familiar with the algorithms.
Mm-hmm. So now is then skipping the ad, like let's say the ad's like a minute long and you can skip the ad in 4 seconds, is that interacting with the ad?
I don't think it is, but
Okay.
when I just skip most ads immediately, it kind of changes the definition.
In what way?
Well, skipping the ad is in a sense interacting with it, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
interacting with it in the same way where you are actively interacting with it. You're just getting rid of it.
Yeah.
Whereas
Oh,
Facebook
okay.
is whereas Facebook is an interactive medium.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can block the ads and tell them you don't like it and all that.
Well, not only that, but where you can put your view out when you see something that you don't like.
Mhm.
Facebook gives you that kind of interaction where you can put your view out in real time and get response back.
You can't do that with YouTube. That makes a lot of sense.
Not with the ads, at least.
Yeah, not with the ads anyway. You can with a video, but the advertisements are untouched.
And I think we had one more thing to bring up was an update on the Aaron Dean, Tatiana Jefferson
Yes.
uh, story. The woman who was shot out or through her back
Uh,
window while she was playing video games with her nephew.
mhm.
There's now been a gag order released on the case, but the the police officer was arrested for murder.
Mhm.
He quit his job before he got fired, and he was on
Okay.
a $200,000 bond, but he
Mhm.
was able to make bond.
I wonder how. Oh, because you only have to have $20,000 of it to melt the big bond.
Right, and I just kind of want to see. I know that we're not going to be able to see anything because of the gag order, and I know this is probably not going to be a public hearing, but I just
Mhm.
want to see it the same justice with Amber Gogger is done here when the gender roles are reversed.
Yeah. I mean, it'd certainly be interesting to be able to find out if that happens. I mean, maybe with so much public interest in it, they can't not have it public to a certain extent. I don't know quite how the court system works like that because we heard, I'm pretty sure if, I mean, because it's a police matter, I guess, versus just a public matter.
Well, I can understand why it's under wraps
Mm
and why the gag order's on it. I completely understand why. And it just, I'm not sure what to think about this yet because I don't know, I don't have a verdict. But
hmm. Yeah. Now, why do
the
you say
fact that
you
he was
understand
even
them?
let out for a murder case, a lot of
Mm
people, if you're poor, you don't get that kind of thing.
hmm. No.
You don't get to make bail, or bail
No.
is set astronomically high out of your price range.
Exactly. I mean, as a cop, though, he shouldn't have been able to afford that so easily, though, is what I'm wondering. Because cops don't make that much money.
Well,
That was half of his
they
yearly
have their
salary.
fraternity, and they have their families
Mm
because a lot of significant amount of cops are intergenerational. They go it. My dad was a cop, so I'm a cop. So my kid's
hmm.
a cop.
Yeah.
It's
So,
one of those.
yeah.
It's one of those professions that does run in the family.
Yeah.
And
So
when
now,
you're
why do you say you understand why a gag order's on it?
because when the public gets introduced to the trial, then the public starts influencing the trial, and then we've got a situation where the jurors can't even watch TV because they're afraid of the news stories that they'll hear. So if you keep the
Oh.
trial locked in from the inside, then you don't have to worry about it getting out to get
Mm
back into influencing the jurors.
hmm. Yeah.
Be-
Interesting.
because they don't want the same media influences that you and I have affecting the jurors in their decision.
Yeah, and the way they feel. I mean, why didn't. I mean, I don't know. I guess because it's a police officer, they put a gag order on it also.
That could be part of the case. This is a huge media trial. It's not a surprise that they put a gag order on it for a number of reasons. It's involving a cop. It was just after the Amber Gogger case. It's in a time of turmoil during what's basically what we've moved into being an election year right now.
Yeah.
There is too much shit on the line for this case to get to the media, for it to get back to the jurors from the media.
Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense now that you said that. I mean, so who knows? We have to be able to find the, when it happens, though, the verdict, we'll be able to find that out. They won't be able to keep that from us.
Right. And I'm hoping for a speedy trial, but it was supposed to be November 8th was going to be the start of the hearings.
And I wonder why it got delayed.
Well, it's because it was under the gag order. It was put on the gag order before November 8th, so so we wouldn't have heard anything about the trials.
Yeah.
But I think it's time
yeah.
that we make a day out of it. Thank you for getting the sound worked out for me.
Well, of course. Thank you for having me.
And I'd love to have you on again sometime.
I'd love to do it. I'll make sure I am more up to speed about most of the topics. But I do appreciate it. So thank you.
Oh, not a problem at all. It was a pleasure having you. And we are going to conclude, and we'll be here next. So I'll be here next week with somebody.
Perfect.
You have a great day.
You too.